By the way, you for sure have the best intro of all time. I need to work on one for Gerard, by the way.
Hello, everybody, and good morning. Today, we have DigitalJeff. We'll be talking about a little bit about Japan, Nipsey Hussle, Aubrey Marcus, Leaders Create Leaders, just to name a couple of the topics. But this is actually the first episode that we're doing in the morning, so welcome. Rise and shine, baby cakes.
Oh, yeah, we got some coffee.
Aliens on the border.
The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found.
Faster than light, spaceship of the future.
By direction of the President of the United States, stay in your home.
Is it human or inhuman? Earthly or unearthly?
Born in that swirling inferno of radioactive dust, there is no word to describe them.
We may be witnesses to a biblical prophecy come true.
Why is it that we usually ignore the fourth dimension?
Is this the human race of the future?
Aliens on the border.
What's going on? Like I just mentioned, we have DigitalJeff back on the continental United States.
Yeah, I'm excited.
A long, long journey.
Yeah, it was a journey for sure. This one was probably one of my, longest trips by myself. So definitely a journey. I'm glad to be back in Laredo, Texas, and sitting, right here with you.
Back with the fam.
Yeah.
Back down to hang. I don't know. It's the morning. I'm sorry. I'm not funny right now. But what can you tell us, man, about Japan? I know you got like a whole keep it under lock stuff, but what can you tell us about Japan?
So I do have an NDA, non-disclosure agreement with a company that I'm working with, and but I obviously can share a few things that are, I think, very insightful, and I'm excited to share. But the project that I'm working on, it's with NHK Global, and the host and the main director of the project her name is Candice Kumai, which appeared on Leaders Create Leaders about 2 years ago now. So we became friends through Leaders Create Leaders. We did a whole story on Candice Kumai. Candice is like half Japanese, half Polish, I believe.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And her dad actually was from the Navy and met her mom while on tour. And then they got married and they came to the United States after. And her mom had no idea what America was. I mean, she knew what America was, but had no idea of the culture and
just complete culture shock.
Complete culture shock. So she ended up raising Candice and her sister. She has one sister, 2 daughters, as with Japanese traditions. She had very little English, and then she picked up English. But when they grew up as kids, like babies, all the way to teen years, I would say, they grew up, with Japanese traditions. So her latest book is called Kintsugi Wellness, is based on those traditions that can help you overcome all parts of your life. And I'll go over some of the things right now. But anyways, the project was based on that book. So if you want to know more about the project, I would say go read the book.
Go read the book.
Kintsugi Wellness by Candice Kumai. It's her 6th book. She's been on Dr. Oz. She's a regular on Dr. Oz. She's been on, what's it called?
You've helped her with her podcast too, am I right?
I helped her launch her podcast, and I helped her launch her, did her promotion for her latest book, Kintsugi Wellness. And this new program that we're shooting in Japan, and it's not only Japan, it's pretty much across the world, but I'm helping her with the Japan portion because it's probably the hardest one, is or the heaviest one, I would say, is something that's going to launch in October, I believe. And it talks about a lot of the concepts that are come out in the book. So
can you talk about what your role was? Not what you did, but at least what you were doing as far as your role in the project?
Yeah. So that's a very good question, actually, because originally when I came on board, I came on as a a story, obviously my gift or my forte is on storytelling. So got on board to be able to piece the story together, because there's all these concepts, right? And Candice has an amazing story, so somebody would come in with her crew, because she already has her production crew. Somebody would come in. She invited to come in for me to see it, as how to tie this story together, piece it together. And throughout the process, obviously, because of budget constraints and stuff like that, I was able to come on board also as a assistant to the director of photography. So I was helping him with a lot of production, and because of the size of the crew, I was helping with other things also. So it was kind of like same way we do Leaders Create Leaders, in the sense, like, for me it was second nature. Like, shooting this was a blessing, because I feel like, damn, I've been working on Leaders Create Leaders the last 4 years now, and we have a very tight budget, and we got to make these shows as best as possible with the budget that we have. So and when I talk about tight budget, there's actually, especially for Leaders Create Leaders, like, there's no actual number we're spending, but we all know that we have to be very resourceful.
Yeah, you gotta like stay within bounds.
Yeah, be creative. Try your best to conserve all your production equipment. Take care of everything you have. The mics, take care of everything. Like, it's just all this simple stuff that you've been used to. That I was used to, I was able to apply to this project. So I came in as a ninja, a creative ninja, and I worked with the team on all aspects. I didn't do much directing though. I was not, so I don't want to take any of the credit there, because I pretty much was really kind of like, what do you need? I'm here.
Focus more like on the production side of it.
Production side of things, making sure, we got the shots right, making sure we're good on all equipment, everything's running perfectly, so, and speed, being able to go. We went to 10 different cities in a span of like 3 weeks. So it was a lot of flying back and forth, going on trains, and at the same time, while you're traveling, it's not like you're traveling with your little backpack. Everybody's got 4 bags, checking in 2, carrying on 2, and they all have every single piece of equipment that we need.
You got to keep track of all of that.
Yeah.
Make sure nothing gets lost.
Making sure nothing gets lost. And by the end of the trip, we did lose a few things, but it was kind of like oh man, that's all we lost. Like, I thought we were gonna lose.
Bad.
Yeah. And we only lost one thing, and this is a funny story. We lost the microphone. You know how the microphones are wireless, and there's one that attaches to the host, or the person on camera, and then one attaches to the camera. Well, we lost the one that was attached to the host, to Candace. And the funny thing is that when we got to the airport on our this was the last shoot, where it was like day 20 something, I think day 24, day 25, and we're in Nagasaki, and we're flying back from Nagasaki to Tokyo. And at the actual airport, she hands the microphone to the director. She's like, hey, like, obviously I can't fly with it, so here. He puts it away. And there's a mystery, because within 5 minutes after that happened, we found out that the microphone was like nowhere. And so we started looking for it everywhere. We put all the bags, like went through all the bags. We never found the microphone. So microphone went missing. And so.
Sounds like Japan has its own duendes, dude.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Some duendes were out there following me, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that right now. Got some really bizarre and beautiful stories, I would say. And I want to share it with you right now. But anyways, and then we also broke one lens.
No.
And that was my fault, which is going to lead me into the bizarre story. So we broke one lens. It was a 16-35 millimeter, nice lens, not the most expensive one. There's obviously more expensive lenses, but we were doing a scene where we dolly backwards, right? And we didn't have the time to set up. We didn't have enough time to set up a shot that we needed. So I was gonna have to do it on a Steadicam, and I was gonna put the camera on top, balance it out right, and I was gonna do an L series. So it means you walk first one way, and then midway through the shot you do a complete L, so like a 90-degree turn.
Yeah. Okay.
And during that process of me shooting it, normally I have a back spotter, but for this scene we needed a bounce light to the people on the camera, which was Candace and one of the monks. And as we took an L, I somehow took a wrong L, and I literally ended up stepping in the hole, and it fell to my back, did a whole flip, and then during this process I broke the lens. And I broke the lens and one of the cameras, actually. The camera was able to be repaired during the shoot. I ninja repaired the camera, I've done that before, and but the lens was
Gone.
was gone. The story comes in, and this is what I wanted to share. The bizarre, magical, beautiful story happened because it's interesting, man. This is crazy. So that same morning, woke up for sunrise. I had like maybe 3-4 hours of sleep, and I wanted to wake up for sunrise because this was a beautiful temple, and we were only gonna be there for one night. So like, I have to wake up. I have to, I have to experience this. And woke up, natural, no alarm clock, nothing. Just woke up and I went outside. I had my point and shoot camera, and walking around, just enjoying seeing the trees, seeing the temples, seeing the sunrise. And outside the temple at night, they obviously locked the doors, right? Outside the temple was a man chanting, like a man singing. Obviously I don't know what he was singing or chanting, but it was kind of like in a meditation form. And normally, before they're allowed in, they sit outside the door until somebody invites him to come in, right? So this man was outside the door of this temple, and he's wearing that Raiden like hat.
The hat, the straw hat.
It's like he's literally dressed up like a Raiden.
That's fucking awesome.
And I'm with my camera, and I'm walking out, and I see him, and I see him chanting, and I go closer and closer to him. Finally, I get to him, maybe like 5 feet away, and I show him the camera because obviously I can't speak Japanese, so I show him the camera and be like, can I take a photo of you? I tell him, and he's like, he just nods and smiles. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I start taking like video instead of photo. I started taking video of him, and when I'm seeing him, I'm like, oh man, this guy reminds me of my grandfather, which I never actually met. Grandfather Delfino, right?
Okay,
yeah. And I see him, and for some reason he gave me that feeling that it was my grandfather. Maybe because of the way he looked. He had like a little bit of like the semi-Japanese eyes, but not fully Japanese.
Yeah.
Kind of like in the mix. Kind of like a lot of our family has those eyes.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening is I do the video of him, and I get this weird vibe, and I'm like, and then as I'm walking out, he stops me, and he's like, he's sitting down this whole time, by the way, and he says, "Where are you from? Where are you from?" Which is where you from, right? And I look back at him and I say, "I'm from Texas." Oh, Texas. He's like, Texas. And I have this on camera, by the way. I was recording this whole time without me knowing that I was recording.
Oh shit.
And you can hear the audio, but you can't see him. But so you can hear me saying all these things and having this little conversation with him. And then he says, so I ask him, "Where are you from?" And then he responds with like one word. He says, "Here." I'm from here. And I'm like, that sounds interesting, because here could be anything. It could be Earth, or it could be, I'm from here, from this moment, from this time,
I'm from here, from this temple.
I'm here from this, but he's not from that temple though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what threw me off. He's not from that, because he's trying to get in. So interesting. Like, it's like, what does he mean by here? Because normally when you ask somebody where they're from, they'll tell you the city, or they'll tell you like the country, the state. But he just said here, and so it kind of threw me off. And I was like, okay, whatever. I went on with my day, and then by the time sun rose, and it was about 7, 8 a.m. in the morning, we were supposed to start a shoot at 9 a.m. sharp, and we were going to do that L shot. I was telling you.
Yeah.
So we do this L shot, and as I fall down, I sprain my ankle. I stepped on that hole. I sprained my ankle. It's swelling up. I fell on my back, right? And I'm like with my eyes closed for like 20 seconds. And I'm just like, and everybody's around me. The whole crew's around me, and everybody's like, "You're okay, you're okay." Like, what happened? Like, and I wish somebody would have filmed this part, even though it's kind of funny. Like, it would have been kind of embarrassing, but I really didn't care. But so I had my eyes closed. I just sprained my ankle, and I've sprained my ankle so many times. I know the exact feeling, the way you sprain your ankle and how bad it's gonna be. And I was like, oh my God, my trip's about to end right now, because I'm not gonna be able to walk after this. And I feel somebody grab my ankle, and when I open my eyes, it's this gentleman, the same gentleman that was outside the door that I had this conversation with earlier this morning.
Lord Raiden. Yeah,
Lord Raiden was out there, and he asked one of our translators. He asked him if he could, if I gave him the permission for him to heal me. And I was like, hell yeah, get to work, buddy.
Yeah.
So he did. I have the video of this. Somebody filmed it for me without me knowing on their cell phone and sending me the video after, which is, you gotta watch this, man. It's crazy. I wish we could post it here, but I might do like a whole vlog on this.
Okay, cool.
So he doesn't do like, when he's healing me. First of all, I was literally on my back because that's how I fell down. So he did a few things to my ankle, but like it was like touch points. Like he was just touching it, like barely. I would barely feel his hands or his fingers, and then he made me sit down, and that's when they started filming. And he did this whole like series of touches all over my ankle, and at the end when he finished, the swelling just like went away, and you can see it. Like you can actually see it on the video, like my because I have a sock on my foot, and you can see it like bulging up. And as soon as he finishes, like you can see it like freeze for a split second, and then he just says like you're good now. And he translates to our translator, like he won't have the swelling anymore. He'll still have to go through the regular like injury, but he won't have the swelling. So he's saved like 2-3 weeks of time. And I was able to continue my trip, man. Like literally did not lose a day.
How many days into the trip were you at this point?
I was probably like halfway the trip.
How long was the whole trip?
It was about 24 days, I believe.
Damn.
Yeah, 24-day trip.
You left here like at the beginning of April, right?
Beginning of April. Got back on the 24th or 25th.
Oh,
yeah. So I got there. A few days ago. I was still in Japan.
That's so crazy, dude. How was the jet lag? Were you jet lagged at all when you got there?
When I got to Japan, I was good. And it's weird because it's you leave. Let's say I left for example, I left on a Tuesday. I missed out on Wednesday, and all of a sudden I woke up on a Thursday. It's like I missed a whole day.
Damn.
I lost a day, and then when I came back, I took off at 6 p.m. and then landed in the U.S. like at 4 p.m. So I time traveled. Like I went backwards. I went back in time. Like I gained 2 hours, whatever. But on my return back, I was jet lagged for like 3 days. I felt like somebody had gone inside my head and taken out my brain and just, disposed of it. I felt so hollow, just all these little symptoms. And then a few days later, I ended up getting a cold. So yeah, I've been trying to recover.
That's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it was an intense trip for sure.
That sounds badass.
I gotta show you that video though.
I have to see that video, man.
Yeah,
did you guys visit like a lot of different? Can you even say that? Did you visit like temples?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can say that. Like I won't go into details of what temples we visited because a lot of them will be first. Featured, So the cool thing about this project, there's so many cool things, but one of the cool things that got me excited about this project is that we're gonna go film in parts of Japan that had never been filmed before. So some of these temples have never had permissions to shoot anything. There's pictures of these temples. Like if you go online, you can find these temples, but there's no actual footage or professional production in any of these. And we were the first ones, that Japan allowed. Got to get approval from the government and stuff like that to be able to film these places, and approval from the actual facilities, people that run these facilities, these temples. To get those approvals, it takes a lot. So we were very fortunate. I don't know how they pulled that off. I can't take any credit for that. I was just showing up.
You were just along for the ride.
I was just along for the ride. Dude, and making sure we get the shots. So
were they like Buddhist temples or like Shinto or like a mixture of both? Or
no, the ones we visited were all Buddhist. And that place where I injured my ankle, there was a total of 88 temples, which is a pilgrimage that most people take. And they go there like either once in their lifetime, or they try to go like once a year for a few months, and you walk from one temple to another. So it's a whole pilgrimage, and then you can stay at the temples at night, and they allow you to. They can buy food there, and there's you can shower there and stuff like that. So
I had a homie of mine that actually did that, and I wanted him to like come on to tell the story about it, but it just hasn't happened. Mm-hmm. But I think he did it like a year ago or so, and he walked like the whole like 88 temples.
The 88 temples, yeah.
Yeah. So damn, that's fucking badass.
So I didn't get to walk the 88 temples because I was only there for in that part of Japan. I was only there for 2.5 days, and obviously most of it's production. But I got to experience. I got to experience some of the people that had been, in this
Going through
pilgrimage,
the pilgrimage, yeah.
and I was able to talk to a few people from different parts of the world. Every time I see somebody that's, doing
Not
this,
Japanese,
not
yeah.
Japanese, be like, hey, where you from? So some people from Spain, a lot of people from Spain, a lot of people from Germany, a lot of people from any, different parts of Europe and obviously the U.S. So it was good to see how it's spreading in a positive way. It's not like tourism.
It's
the
not
type
like
of tourism where
like cliche tourist shit. Like you go and
you go there and
you're fully immersed.
Yeah, you're fully immersed. And as you get to each temple, you have to clean yourself. Like you wash your hands, you wash your mouth, and I believe you wash your face. I can't believe the third one. I don't know. I don't remember the third one. I'm for sure you wash your hands, you wash your mouth, and then you're allowed to go into the temple grounds. And then people normally when they get there, they'll do a prayer. They'll light up a few candles and they'll do a prayer a prayer and a chant right in front of the temple, and then they can decide to stay there for a while, rest, or they can continue to the next temple. So yeah, and then the terrain there is all mountains and hills, and there's like all these alleys, and there's these little roads, and just beautiful, man. And the other beautiful part about it is that we went through during the sakura season, which is the cherry blossom season, and they're only up for like a week. So I got to see, sometimes like 2 weeks, depends on what part of Japan you're in.
Yeah.
So I was able to see the cherry blossoms in Tokyo. I was able to see the cherry blossoms in different parts of Japan, which is amazing. I have some amazing footage for sure.
You've been dropping like a little bit of pictures here and there, right? That like you're on your own personal.
Yeah,
Instagram?
all my personal photos, I'm dropping them.
Yeah.
That obviously I do have control over, but I can't share like context of the show, and in the sense of like I don't want to review any of the stories, because there's some stories that are very, very powerful that I think that they deserve to be told during the actual when it comes out.
Yeah.
And but I'm gonna share them for sure at one point, when it comes out, or as soon as I get permission to do more of that. I don't want to step on anybody's toes either, and it's the respect for the art too. Like
if they're like it was a whole effort to create stories and everything and bring it all together as a production. So yeah, man, that'd be pretty fucking big. You're like, here's all the shit.
Yeah, I'll give you a brief outline of some of these stories. So we go towards all parts of Japan, and we go into their culture, and we break down not only their culture, but what are some of the main concepts that their culture follows, and why they are able to get you from point A to point B. And sometimes your point B is like happiness, and point A could be where you're at right now, or point B could be overcoming something that's troubling you in life. It doesn't necessarily have to be with happiness. It could be different things. So we go and break down some of these concepts which are in the book, Kintsugi Wellness. So you read the book, you'll be able to get more
like a general idea.
So there's the terms like wabi sabi. There's terms like
that's the name of the podcast, isn't it?
The Wabi Sabi podcast.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Actually, if you listen to episode 43 on the Wabi Sabi podcast, you can. Candace has different rights than me, obviously, because it's her show. She's the director. She can talk anything about it. So if you listen to episode 43, I think you'll be able to get a full understanding of the whole mission that we went out and shot in Japan.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah.
Damn, dude. Did you guys go near that forest?
The suicide forest?
Yeah.
Or you know what? So I actually during this whole trip, it kind of kept bouncing in the back of my mind, like, where is this forest? Because I did go to so many different forests, and I wondered one of those forests was actually that forest that everybody talks about. But I actually didn't even have the energy or time to.
Like, you were just so focused and
I was so focused, yeah. And plus, at the same time that I'm shooting over there, I'm also running Leaders Create Leaders over here. I'm launching different episodes. I'm working with my team over here. We have a team of like 8 people that I'm working with. So I'm like sleeping like 2-3 hours a night, and making sure that everything's running. So
where's Leaders Create Leaders now? Like, what season are you guys on, and what's going on with that?
So Leaders Create Leaders right now is on season 5. So happy that we finally launched season 5. Season 5, I think, is gonna be. it's hard. It's hard for me to. I don't want to have any expectations for season 5, right?
Yeah.
I just want to see what it does. But I believe season 5 has a lot of potential of being more of a show that you can watch, whether you're into like self growth or not, or whether you're into like business or not. I think you can watch it because it's shot differently. It's shot in a very docu series style.
Okay.
So where we go into the life of whoever we're interviewing. Instead of just doing a sit down interview, we get to spend a few days with them, a whole day with them, and they take us through their we actually like shadow them. So we film parts that are normally not filmed, and the mics are always on. So it gives it this different feel to really getting to know the other person versus like asking them a question that you might already know the answer to. So it's a lot less predictable. And our first episode was on Aubrey Marcus. It was a 2-part series on Aubrey Marcus. We broke down his story from mind, body, and spirit, how he runs his company, but also how he treats his body, how he trains every day, the things he eats, the different practices throughout the day, and pretty much every single aspect. Kind of like if you're a fly on the wall looking at his day. That's kind of the way episode feels. And then we ask him some very tough questions, man. We ask him about his open relationship with his girlfriend, Whitney. And I think they've been in an open relationship for about 5 years now. And they get a lot of heat about it. You know, the majority of people are not used to this concept of open relationships. Even me, when I heard about it the very first time, I was like, I don't know, I could do that, man.
That's pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah. And he breaks it down. I mean, I don't want to put words into his mouth, but he breaks it down perfect. I would recommend you watch the episode. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. Aubrey Marcus Part 1 and Part 2, and it just, you know, it's a great way to see somebody that's fully immersed in being the highest evolution of himself and practicing daily. Because there's like, you know, we see, for example, when you see like somebody that's really hard to connect with because they're such at a high level, sometimes it's hard for you to listen to them because you can't relate to them, you know. It's like listening to Mark Zuckerberg.
He's a fucking alien.
He's an alien. Yeah, like you like this guy's a robot.
Yeah.
But he's a robot to us because we're not thinking at his level or at his. Yeah. I'm not saying he's better or worse than us. Just a different perspective. It's a different perspective. Yeah. So Aubrey is one of those persons that is up there, but you can still relate to, at least in this episode, because you're able to see how he goes about his day. So, for example, you know how people say like, "Oh, meditate 3 times a day, and get some sunlight, and make sure you, you know, fast in the morning and eat the right minerals, and take the right minerals, and take the right vitamins." And take
this guy's doing all of that.
This guy's doing all of that, but he does it in a way where it's part of his. It's integrated into his plan, where he's not breaking himself. He's not breaking his flow to do all these other things and not be able to.
It's just a part of him.
It's a part of him, and it's beautiful to see on video. And it's like, wow. And I think based on the reviews that we got on that first and second episode, like it did it had a good representation of how to actually do this, you know, because sometimes it's hard. Like even you're reading in the book, somebody can give you all the perfect advice. Somebody can give you the perfect advice to, you know, have the best day of your life, like how to live, you know, optimize your day, but not until you see it in practice. And how you see this guy that's running a company that's, I don't know how many employees he has, you know, a couple of hundred employees, and you see how he's able to manage and have meetings and handle stress at a high level and still be able to come and meditate. And he has like for example, he has like a little trampoline next to his desk, and every time he's gonna do something that requires a lot of cognitive thinking, he'll go on the trampoline for like, you know, 2-3 minutes,
try to get into a flow state.
Yeah. Whenever he has phone calls, he goes outside, takes off his shirt, and he's walking back and forth, absorbing the sun, taking the sunlight. You know, it's 15-20 minutes of sun a day or 30 minutes of sun that you need. And by the way, all of that comes out in his book, Own Your Day, Own Your Life. And all these principles, which we kind of went into, but like me personally, I didn't read the whole book. I read part of the book. I don't know if Gerard read the full book or not, but we kind of were able to see the book in real life. And that's what I liked about this this first episode.
You saw him walk that walk.
Walk the walk, man. And that's why I love, like, it's interesting because somebody asked me the other day, like, hey, man, who has really impressed you, like, from all the people you've interviewed? Like, and I'm like, dude, a lot of these people that have been on our show have really impressed me because they actually walk the walk. I'm not saying 100% of them. I would say a good 60 to 70% of them walk the walk. Some of them I could probably like be like, oh man, I wish we could have had a second take I wish we could have done this type of
like style of
with
the
every
episode, yeah, with like
because
before.
it really exposes, thought leaders, and if they're really about it, then it's really in their favor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they're really about it, it's gonna favor them. In this case of Aubrey, like you can see how much of a fucking badass he is, and you can see how much love he has for others, for himself, for the world, and how much he wants to really give back.
He's pushing like a lot of big things, right? Like as far as like on it is fucking badass. And if you guys have never heard of it, they have like a lot of really good supplements for yourself, right? To kind of like enhance your life and help your body be like optimized. They call it like human optimization, or primate optimization. I forgot what it was called.
Human optimization,
something like that, right?
Yeah.
But I know he was on a podcast that I listened to, which I think was The Fighter and the Kid, and they were talking about like I'm not sure how directly he's involved into it, but they were talking about like clinical trials for MDMA and psilocybin mushrooms to treat like PTSD and all that type of stuff, and like I forgot because it was a while back when I saw it, probably like a year ago already. Yeah, when they were like starting all of this and as a treatment again for like PTSD for like veterans or what have you.
We actually did a story on it. It was directed by this guy named Chris Bayer, and Gerard was the host on this episode, and actually went viral. It hit a couple of million views, and the story is on Maps, which is the clinic and the doctor that got permission to do studies with MDMA and psilocybin, and how they're using it to treat PTSD with soldiers that are coming back from war and stuff like that. And Gerard goes in and does like the same thing. He goes in and he starts looking around and starts poking here and poking there, and then it's about a 7-minute video that really does justice to
the whole concept behind
the whole concept. And Aubrey is a big advocate for that as well.
Yeah, I know he's like really I mean, not to make him sound like a hippie or anything, but kind of. But I mean, he's like really
he's
into
it. Yeah, he's a modern day hippie with fucking muscles.
For real, dude. He's fucking shredded. That guy, Primal Soldier, is that he works at it, or he's based off of On It, right? He's part of like Aubrey's crew or not?
Who is that again?
Primal Soldier. He's on Instagram, and he's always at On It in Austin. At least like in all his
I'm
posts.
Sure. I mean, they have a really good
trainers and shit, right?
Yeah, they have a whole facility where they train. They certify you as an On It trainer.
That's fucking crazy.
So you can go there for, I don't know if it's a weekend or a week or a month, and they have a trainer that trains you on how to
become like
certified.
On It style.
Because they have their own tools. They created this whole system of working out every single muscle in your body versus like just muscle groups.
Yeah.
For example, if you go to the gym right now, like I'm so used to, like since I was a kid, where you do
leg day.
You do leg day, you do legs, and you do 4 sets of 10 reps each of each muscle group, and then you're done, and that's it. There's actually a workout program. It's not a full workout program, but we actually shadowed. Like Aubrey took Gerard through one of his workouts.
Did you join in or no?
No, because I was filming.
Oh, okay.
But I'm glad I didn't, because I would have fucking died. I would literally had like a heart attack on that. Just go watch the episode, and you'll see around the 10-minute mark, they go into this full workout.
I saw a clip of it. I think y'all had dropped before the release. Gerard was just like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's go."
It was just a warm up.
Yeah.
After the warm up, Gerard's like ready to tap out. But it was amazing to see how each part of your body can actually be worked out every single day. And that was a limiting belief that I used to have. That you need to work out. Like if you want to grow like this, like the shoulder, you have to focus on the shoulder only. Right, but if you see Aubrey's body, if you see Joe Rogan's body, like they're
pretty strong all around.
Pretty strong all around. So you don't want to confront that guy because he's probably gonna crush you.
And they're also, well, I mean, at least Joe Rogan's like a fucking martial artist. So I don't know about, does Aubrey probably trains too, right? Like martial arts.
I think he trains. Yeah, I think he has a. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. We didn't go into that part of. Yeah. Of his
I definitely would have
dove
into that shit.
I know Whitney kicks ass. His girlfriend.
Yeah.
She's had like a few fights under her belt. There's a few of them online.
Damn.
Yeah. So, and she wasn't a fighter. She was obviously a beauty queen. She won Miss Texas, I believe. And then after Miss Texas, she was like, I want to do something more challenging. And she ended up going down the MMA route. But anyways, long story short is that the cool thing about this new series that we're doing in season 5 is that we're going to be going more into like shadowing people and really exposing in a very, whether it's good or bad, like we're showcasing what these people are actually doing, because I think that's the way to learn. Like it's easy for me to say something.
Yeah.
So easy. I can give you the right answer each time that people want to hear, or people that will, but if you follow me for a day, then you'll really know the answers that you're asking to the questions you're asking, so it's a
like
big difference.
You'll be able to see it, not just hear it.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And that's kind of the mission behind season 5, which I'm excited about. And I feel like more people can relate to it now because of that.
You take a look behind the curtain.
Yeah.
See like
behind the curtain.
actual process and shit. What? Oh, fuck. I was about to ask something. Oh yeah. Well, actually, that brings me back to yesterday. You went live with Casey Adams.
Yeah.
Right. And I was at work listening like a bad boy.
Instagram.
Yeah, because fuck the Matrix.
Instagram Live
with Casey Adams, and they have like a launch for something. But you popped in, right, and featured.
Did you get a notification of that or what?
Yeah, I got a notification of that.
What did it say?
It said DigitalJeff is going live right now.
Oh,
and I was like, okay, I wonder what he's doing. So I clicked it, and
because he invited me. Well, I sent a request to him, and he accepted.
Okay.
But it was weird because we had to like troubleshoot
or something.
Yeah. So I wasn't sure if my audience got notified, but I guess it did.
Yeah, it I saw it, and like to speak more to what you were saying, where I think you were talking about how like, yeah, we can read like a bunch of inspirational quotes on Instagram all day and everything, but it's not until you actually have like an immersive experience that you're able to really walk away with like, like an actual piece of like wisdom or knowledge, what have you. And I thought that was pretty cool, and I guess that just made me think like that ties back into that ties back into like what you guys are doing this season, right? It's more of like you're immersing yourself in the type of lifestyle that these successful people lead, as opposed to just hearing like the answers to some questions, right?
Yeah, man. And what's cool about this is like it's very easy to like judge people that are successful. Like you can go out there and like find something bad about somebody that's successful, but what I've noticed over the years is and this is very profound, and I could only know this by going through like the last 4 years of shooting. The reason they're successful is because they really believe that the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So they're very detail oriented. They're a lot of what they preach, they're actually doing it day by day, and then a lot of them have the ability to challenge their fears. Sometimes fears hold, like for me, I noticed that a lot of things that hold me back is based on fear. Like sometimes I don't have the courage to do things because I'm just afraid of what could happen, and these people are kind of like, they might just be fearless. I don't know. They might not see fear the way we see fear, or the way, somebody that's, if you're struggling right now, you might need to look at the way you see fear. I think that's one thing I've taken personally, be like, okay, like, why do I always like, every time I make a decision, I look at what could happen wrong versus what could happen right? And I think a lot of these people have the courage to just go for it. And so the times that I've been successful in my life is the times that I've had the courage to go for things, So it's great to be able to see it firsthand. And, now looking backwards to the last, we shot about close to 100 episodes. I'm not even sure on the number yet. But some of these people are, extremely successful, and a lot of these people came from almost nothing, which is the beauty about it. Like they came from like ground zero, and so I get to see myself in their shoes of how when they started, and the courage that they had to be able to make big decisions, So yeah, man, it's that's what I'm excited about season 5. Today we dropped Susie Batiz. It's a new episode, and Susie Batiz was the founder of Poopery. I don't know if you heard of Have you heard of Poopery?
Yeah, like the stuff you use in the restrooms and shit. No.
It's called POO Poo.
Yeah.
Puri.
Okay.
So it's a spray. It's like an oil that you spray before you actually.
Yes, I have actually I've actually used it.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
So
used it before.
I didn't know this, but a lot of women carry Poopery in their purse.
No wonder.
Yeah, no wonder. Yeah, that's a secret. So she's the one that invented Poopery. Like she literally, like she was having dinner one day, and it's all this is in the episode. She was having dinner one day with all her friends, and at this time, like she had just gone through like a divorce and like a bunch of stuff, and she was at a point in her life where she was comfortable. She wasn't seeking money anymore. She was like kind of at a point where like, okay, I know this is my life. It's a very modest life, humble life, but I'm comfortable with it. I'm happy with it. And then one of her friends asked her a question like, can bathroom odor be stopped? Something like that. And she was like, wait, her hobby was mixing oils. You know, she liked to mix oils for like different things. So they asked her like the right question to the right person, and she came up with this solution of like, oh shit, I can do this. So that same day, she goes home that night and starts experimenting. And for the next 9 months, she experiments, kind of like a mad scientist, and then finally was able to
come up with the fucking concoction.
Come up with, and so the story's there, and then she builds that company. She's very resourceful and creative. Like she did not grab $1 from anybody. She used her own resources to order her first 1,000 bottles and sell those 1,000 bottles, and like moving them like one at a time, selling them one at a time, to eventually becoming
like a fucking staple. Everybody knows what that shit is.
Yeah, so I think she's making over $100 million a year now. Her company.
That's crazy.
Yeah, her company
off of making your poop not smell.
Yeah, she's. I think her company's worth over $500 billion, and
that's amazing.
It came from one idea, one question that became an idea, and it literally fell in her lap. As far as like, she didn't go out and search for, I want to do a business, or I don't want to go out and create something. It just kind of like, it felt very natural to her. I think she said, I felt alive when somebody asked me that. Like, I finally felt alive. Like, okay. So she knew that this was something that she needed to do.
Damn.
So that dropped today.
Okay, so that was the latest episode,
That's the latest episode, and it's a 2-part series. So first part is like, she takes us to this temple of transformation. It's a old church that she bought. She gutted out the place. She transformed the whole place, and it's a multi-story. So there's like different rooms, and there's a sauna in there. There's an infrared room. There's like a silent room. There's all these areas like where you can meditate. There's healing bowls. Have you seen the healing bowls?
Yeah, the ones that they have like the little wooden thing and you spin around. They have like that frequency at the
yeah. So she has like
meditation
10 or 15 of them. They're amazing. So she gets to play around in the first episode, the first part. She plays around with them, and she freaks out Gerard and how like there's a love frequency. So she does like the love frequency. It's 432, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's just cool to see how she's able. Like for me, one of my dreams is to be able to do something like that. Not a temple of transformation, but like have a place
like a place where you can just go and
where you can come in, and it's kind of like a monastery or somewhere where people can come and study, but also we can host like small immersive retreats, or we can host like
ayahuasca retreats.
Whatever. Yeah, that'll depend on who's hosting.
Right. Yeah.
But people can come and learn and study and meditate and be able to
like a fucking
find themselves,
like a spiritual library of sorts, maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think after this Japan trip, I was able to finally piece it together. Like, what exactly is it that I want? Now I can visually see it. I started sketching out like different rooms now, and I can see how it's gonna. I can finally see how it's gonna look, because over the last couple of years I've had the idea, but it wasn't visual yet. Like I didn't know exactly what I wanted. What are the like for sure I want this, like for sure I want. This is an example here. When you walk into this place, right? I want you to walk in, And as you walk in, I want you to see a garden, whether it's indoors or somehow. I mean, I gotta talk to architects. I gotta figure this how this is gonna work. Cause I wouldn't know how to do this. But where you walk in, there's a garden there, an actual garden with flowers and trees and plants, and the roof is actually leaking in the light. So it could be where the roof is with a window, or I don't know. See, I don't know those things, but
like a Mexican style hacienda where you walk
like a Mexican style hacienda.
It has the open concept in the middle.
The open concept in the middle, and I want to be in charge of harnessing that garden. Like I want to take care of that. That's kind of that'll be my daily routine, like my meditative space.
It's weird that you say that because like when I had that whole weird shit happen, when I found like crazy shit in the backyard, I was like cleaning up the backyard and shit after.
No, yeah, sent me a photo. That's creepy.
Yeah, it was fucking weird. And so I was like, it felt very like calming, like to just kind of, and I wasn't like straight up gardening or what have you, but like, you know, I was just doing like yard work and cleaning up like weeds and finding random witchcraft shit in my backyard buried. Well, that's weird as fuck.
You gotta do a vlog on this.
I know, dude. I'm kind of scared to put up the pictures. I don't know why.
Maybe you can just blur out the photos of the people.
Well, I mean, you can't see them. I don't post the pictures of the people, or I don't have them. Yeah. Because I didn't like open the jars.
Or you can always say, make a prayer after the episode or something.
Yeah, like, hey, strap yourself in because this is crazy. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like the couple of moments that I've spent like doing stuff in the yard, like, and then this past weekend, Valerie and I also did like some other stuff in the backyard to kind of, you know, just patch it up a little bit here and there. But it's like kind of like, you know, calming, almost like a bit of a meditation type of thing. Yeah. So like I can relate to that shit. That's pretty badass.
Yeah. So those are like the given. Like I need that for sure. That's non-negotiable. So Susie's gonna have to deal with it, and I think she'll like it too. And also one of the things that I want to make sure we have a temazcal in the back, right? Temazcal, which is that it's kind of like a sauna, but like more native.
The American one that you spoke about on the last episode, right? Where it's like a enclosed space. And you have like the hot rocks.
And yeah, we want to have that. I want to have like either not necessarily a pool, but like a area where you can do hot baths, right? Or, you know, so I want to have that.
Like a hot springs type of deal.
Like a hot springs type of deal. Yeah. Where you can go and relax at the end of the day. And, you know, it's got the warm water. Like.
Speaking of which, did you get to go to any hot springs in Japan?
Yeah.
Is that part of the NDA or no?
No, that's cool. I think we can talk about that. That's actually, I took photos of it. I had to sneak in at night to take photos of this because I didn't think people would believe me, and I was right. Like everybody I've told do not believe me about this. So I was clueless about the onsen experience. Yeah. So onsen are hot springs in Japan that most Japanese houses, which are like motels, I would say, have, or there's also just bathhouses where you can just go and that's all you do. You go and you bathe there, but it's a community bath, so it means that you bathe with every other person that's using it at the same time. Not in the same shower. They have different shower heads. Depends on what size of hotel you go to or Japanese house you go to. They might have up to 50, 60 showers, or they might have like 10. In the first temple I was staying, there was like 8. So sometimes you were in line to take a shower. So you go on these onsens and you strip naked. They give you a little towel so you can cover your privates, but still like walking around with a little towel is kind of funny. And the first time that I heard about it, I thought they were trying to prank me. I thought the guy that was our translator was telling us like the breakdown of like how this works. You know, they give you a kubota, which you put on after. And they give you like a towel and to dry up, and the little tiny towel is like this big. And then you go in the room, you get dressed up. I mean, you undress butt naked, and then you go into the
fucking hot springs pool or whatever.
Well, first you shower, but the onsen, the hot springs, is next to the showers.
Oh, okay.
So it's like one huge room.
Okay.
Which I took pictures of it because of that, because I wanted to show, especially my kids, I wanted to like show them like about the culture. And you shower there, and everybody's showering next to you, and everybody's kind of checking each other out, like, hey, you know, how's it going down there? Right. And my first experience was like, it was funny because we had dinner. Some of the monks that served us, so some monks are in service; they're not in solitude. Some monks are actually serving you, and taking care of the grounds. So those monks, at the end of the day, they're the last ones to finish up the day, and then at the end of the day, they go into the shower. So that day, they were serving us dinner, and then we go to the onsen for the first time. So I was showering with the monk they just served me. So it's kind of awkward for me, like, a little bit of culture shock. I'm like, I'll cover myself, like, and you're free balling, it's hanging out, and you're just showering there. And then after that, after you do the full shower and you're clean finally, then you go to the hot spring. You just jump, you just like walk over and you go to the hot spring. The hot spring is like water that's coming from the veins of the volcano, which have a lot of minerals, and they're supposed to be relaxing and warming. And
back like in Honduras.
Back like in very, very similar, not the same as Honduras. And obviously, I didn't have a pH. I should have taken a pH tester to test the water. But you do that for 5, 10, 15 minutes, and then you go and you go sleep and rest. But
super fucking relaxing. Right?
Super relaxing. And I actually made friends with one of the monks, which I took a photo with, at the onsen. Like, I became friends with him at the onsen, even though I didn't know any English. I mean, I didn't know any Japanese. And he didn't know any English. So I don't know how we communicated.
That's crazy. I was about to ask about, like, how the fuck, how'd you do it?
So you use a lot of like words that could mean what you're trying to talk about. And I believe in telepathy after this trip.
Because you guys were kind of just on the same frequency.
Yeah, that's it, man. And I actually asked him if I could take a photo of him the next day. And so we did a photo shoot the next morning. It was like a quick 5-minute photo shoot.
That's pretty fucking crazy.
And so you'll see the photos on my Instagram, and I'll talk about that experience. And so that was like interesting, the hot spring onsen Japanese house experience. So actually, if you have tattoos, you can't go to these hot springs.
Oh shit!
They don't allow you because anybody that has tattoos is believed to be part of the mafia.
Yakuza.
Yeah, Yakuza. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So it would be like, no, you can't get in if they saw me or what.
I don't know to what extent they hold that true.
Because I have a couple of tattoos.
I have this one and I have the one on my fingers, but
it's nothing too big though, so that might be like,
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know. But every place that we went to, there's this place in Japan, the city called Beppu. Beppu is known for its hot springs. Like, as soon as you walk into the city, there's what's it called? Not mist, but like
steam
coming out of like different parts of the city. Like, as you're walking in, it's like the kind of like the California. I would describe it as the California, the LA, Santa Monica of Japan.
Okay.
And it's like all these mountains and hills, and as soon as you're driving in, you finally see the city by the bay. There's a beachfront, and you see all this steam coming out of different parts of the city. It looks really cool. It looks like a city you would draw up in SimCity. And it's known for its hot springs. Anywhere you go, at the airport actually, when I was flying out, they had a hot spring, and it's for free. Like, you can go in there and just relax for like 15 minutes if you want,
and then take your flight,
and then go jump on your flight.
That's fucking cool, dude.
That's cool. So yeah, it's a very, very cool experience. And it was throughout all parts of Japan, I was able to experience hot springs.
Different ones,
different sizes. After the second day, I was just like free balling there. Like, I kind of got.
It's all good.
It's all good. I got over the whole idea of like somebody looking at me and like, embarrassed.
Yeah, you just got comfortable.
Got super comfortable with it.
What was I super derailed the conversation from like your monastery vision. My bad.
That's all good. Yeah.
But what was like what will you guys eat at when you guys would stay at the temples or like around the cities and stuff?
So, a great question actually. At the temples, they actually have their own chef that prepares like full extensive meals. I would love to show you photos and stuff like that, but a Japanese meal is like, you know how the American meal has like your main portion of something.
Yeah.
So
usually like a protein or whatever.
A protein.
Yeah.
So let's say it's a burger, and then you have your fries on the side, right? And then you might have a third thing, like I don't know, like a jalapeno, or like, I don't know, what would you put it? Like burger, fries, what would be the third thing?
I guess
maybe
like a jalapeno.
Or a treat, maybe like a sweet, something sweet for the end.
Yeah.
So the Japanese house will have, or the Japanese dinner will have like 10 different things. So smaller portions, but more
different
and
variety.
a lot of variety. So they have like the miso soup. They'll have like some rice for sure. There's rice.
Yeah,
Almost
definitely.
every day I ate rice like 3 times a day. I kind of started. I fell in love with the white steamed rice with no flavor,
Just plain?
plain.
Dude, it's fucking good.
That's
Well,
the
I
best.
mean, I've never had it straight from Japan, but
Yeah,
white
it's
steamed
the
rice is
same. I
fucking good,
believe. I
right?
believe the same. Yeah, as long as it's fresh, it's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, and it's kind of like drinking black coffee for the first time without any sugar or any milk. That you're like, oh, I don't know, and then after a while you're like, oh shit, this is where it's at.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the way I feel about white rice. And then you have like different. They pickle a lot of things. Like they put them in vinegar. So a lot of different fruits and vegetables are pickled, and you can mix that with your rice. And then they have like, damn, I'm getting hungry now. Then they have like tempura, which is delicious, like vegetable tempura, off the chain. Then they have like obviously seafood. They have a lot of seafood, sashimi. So you'll have sometimes you'll have 2 big plates that are just yours, and there's like you're just eating away,
Picking at random stuff.
yeah, it's delicious, man. It's amazing. So, and then one of the chefs, I don't know, I can talk about this. Yeah. So anyways, but yeah, they have their own chef, and they spend
Yeah.
a lot of time on the details. Like there'll be a plate that has like a strawberry that's cut in half, and they'll have like a slice of orange, right? And then they'll have like a little square of watermelon, and they're like perfectly positioned. And then when you eat the strawberry, you're like, this is perfect. Like, I don't need one more strawberry. You might be able to do one more, but just the fact that they just gave you one, you appreciate that one strawberry even more.
Yeah, yeah.
And you really
Like savor it or whatever.
savor it. And you're like, you're looking at your neighbors like, is he going to eat the strawberry? So I can eat it. But it gives you that feel of appreciating the portion and not taking it for granted. So it's beautiful, man.
What was your favorite meal throughout the whole trip?
So I think the reason I got sick is because I ate so much. I was eating like 3-4 times a day. And obviously I broke off my alkaline vegan diet. I gave myself the permission back when I was in Cairo. When I came back, I was like, dude, when I'm out there, I gotta experiment more with these
Yeah, with like the different cuisines and the cultures.
So I gave myself the green light to try out sashimi, to try out like different types of like sushi,
Legit sushi.
And I think my favorite I don't know what my favorite meal was. It's so hard to put a finger on it, but I think I enjoyed a lot of these Japanese style meals that I'm telling you about, where you have like the different
spread of just
a bunch of things. It's almost like a little buffet, and you just and then you find out like, oh, this I had never seen. A lot of things that I was eating I had never seen in my life before, not once. So that was amazing. And then one of the other ones was getting lost in Tokyo and finding this random restaurant. I didn't even take one photo, man. I kind of wish I had taken a photo, but I went to this random restaurant. It was like at 11 o'clock at night. Most of the restaurants closed like around 10. So there was one open like around 11. I got there kind of like browsing through the streets. It's in the second floor, and it's probably like twice the size of this office. So very small, and there's 2 employees. There's a server, and then there's the owner, chef / everything else guy. And as you're ordering, as you order one thing, the guy will go out and make it. Like he doesn't have anything like ready
on stock, nothing. He's just fresh made. So
the whole experience took about 2 hours to eat, because I was ordering one thing at a time. I didn't know that at the beginning. So, but it was amazing to see how each plate had so much detail, so much energy put into, like everything you were eating was thought about.
Like someone took the time to like really
just make
that. It, yeah.
I'm gonna make you. They eat a lot of omelet over there. So you order an omelet, like they make it so different and so delicious. They make it in a way where it's like, I can't even explain it, but it's rolled up. It looks like a roll like this. It almost looks like a sushi from the States.
Okay. And
then they cut it up like in 10 pieces. But every time you order it, like there's a special way to make it. So that they have to take their sweet time rolling it, like doing the whole process. and then you order something else, and then they take their sweet time doing that other plate, whether it has like 3 or 4 ingredients or 10 ingredients. Like they take their time doing that. So that was one of my favorite experiences. Just the fact that it was just a random place. I had no expectations for it. I was like, oh, hopefully I don't get sick here.
How difficult is it for you sometimes to like be in the moment and then also remember to like, fuck, let me document this? Just in general. Like,
yeah. Well, I almost brought my camera today, and I consciously left it back because like I need a day off from documenting. You know. So it's really hard, man. It's really like it's one of the hardest things for me because that's kind of like what I do. That's my profession. Like that's literally me documenting and showing these experiences is really what pays my bills. So where do you draw the line?
It's just like second nature now, right?
It's second nature in the sense that I understand what parts of the story I need to capture to be able to tell the story. So let's say I'm at an experience for 2 hours. I might film for only 10 minutes because I might just need, out of those 10 minutes, I might just need a minute of that to actually tell the story. So that's something I've learned through the years. But day one, I was documenting everything. Like I have like boxes of tapes, of the mini DV tapes, of the high 8 tapes, of just like footage, bro. Like footage I might never even watch again because it's so much footage. I'd probably lose like 2-3 years of my life just rewatching things. So now I'm more inclined to understanding what the story needs. I'll be able to capture that and then enjoy the experience after that, or before, or during, or I'll spread it out. So yeah, that's the answer there.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not inclined that way at all. As far as for me, I feel like I'm more the exact opposite to it. And I feel like if I'm doing or I'm in somewhere and like it's an experience thing, I make sure that I'm not like my attention is fully there.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's just difference in how we see shit. Like, 'cause you obviously do that. Like that's your whole thing.
Yeah.
And for me, not so much. Like
like I said, I struggled more with it a few years ago than I do today. I mean, talking about like, I just saw a video. I was showing the director that was with me, which I fucking love him to death now. He, I had never worked with him before, and I'm talking about the director of photography. Sorry, not the director. The director is Castillo, but the director of photography, his name is Carlos. He's originally from Spain. He's done a lot of feature films, done a lot of music videos, like big projects, and we were going in these experiences like throughout Tokyo together, and we would take a camera for both of us, right? So he was taking photos and I was taking video, or I was taking photos and he was taking video, or both, but we were like experiencing Tokyo, and then by end of the night we had some footage that was parts, like little, you can piece the night together, right? But you don't have the whole night there. And I was showing him a video that I shot in 2008. I have forgotten about this video. He was like, show me hey, let's see your Vimeo account. Most filmmakers have a Vimeo account versus YouTube. And I showed him my Vimeo account, and one of the videos that I had there in 2008 was a full length documentation of my daughter being born, right? It's like a 15-minute video of my daughter being born, Jazzy. And I was just in shock of how much footage I used to shoot, how much I used to document versus today. I'm talking about 10 years later.
Yeah.
Where I've learned to tell the story without having to have the entire footage.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I guess some piece of advice for people that like to document. Document, get your shots, and then be happy with that. Get your execute, carpe diem. Seize the moment, capture those shots, and then move on. Enjoy the experience.
Damn.
Good. Yeah, good. That's a good question though. I had never really put too much thought into it.
That's a pretty good answer. It makes a lot of sense. I feel like a lot of people that not necessarily do that or are trying to get their feet wet with that, that's probably like some good advice for them to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Obviously, it's going to take a while so you can develop like that type of vision to where you're like, okay, with just this footage, I'll be able to make the whole story. Like,
I think you have to understand your style. Yeah. But like me personally, I'm going through this evolution always. I think most artists are always going to go through an evolution of like switching up your style slightly. But you have to understand what you're trying to create. Like before you go out there, like if I'm going out, like let's say I'm just going out for an experience and I decide to take my camera with me, I have to make a decision of why I'm taking the camera, right? And it could be as simple as like I want to take a portrait of the venue that I go to, and that's all I take it out for. And I take that photo, and that's it. Or I have to make a decision saying, hey, I want to go out there and I want to showcase like the people that were around me, and I go and I just get shots of them, and that's it. Or I want to showcase what I ate that, you know, what is in, you know, I'm talking about a meal here.
Yeah.
I want to showcase the different foods that I ate, you know. So and that's it. I put that on. I record that, film that, document that, put it away. So making a decision of what you want to get before you actually go out and get it, it's, you know, it's simple. It sounds stupid, but that's really, I think, the way to go about it.
That's true.
Yeah, it'll save you a lot of time in editing as well.
It's like you're kind of being a little bit of a director to.
Yeah, you're directing and editing before you even shoot it.
So you already have something to put out if you're gonna put it out for content, right?
Yeah.
How, I mean, season 5, Leaders Create Leaders. You just dropped the one with, what was your name again? Susie Batiste. What comes after?
We have 2 more episodes that are fully shot. 2 or 3. There's 2 more coming out. One with Colin Wayne. He was the youngest general. I don't know if he was a general or, I don't want to butcher this, but he was in the military from the age of 17 all the way to like the age of 23, I believe. And by the time he hit 23, he was like at a top rank already. One of the youngest to be at that rank of all time. And then he got wounded in Afghanistan. And pretty much had to, he
had to get discharged.
He had to get discharged, and he wasn't able to. He, went through the whole PTSD and had like this. I don't know exactly to what point he went through like a depression or battled PTSD. I know he still goes through it. There's no like 100% cure for that, but he was able to come back, build a personal brand online. He became the #1. He's got more covers, fitness covers than The Rock. And this is a guy without like, you don't know, like if you hear the name Colin Wayne, the majority of people have never seen him in the movie and never seen him in the commercial. But this guy became the cover boy for Muscle and Fitness for about 3 years after leaving the military. And then he started his own company called Redline, and Redline became one of the biggest companies for home decor. And he's done all this by the age of, I think he's 27 now, 27, 28. So, we went to go spend a whole weekend with him in Alabama. That was interesting for me. And then after that, it'll be this guy named Dean. And Dean is like the guy known for infomercials. You've probably seen an infomercial, like if you're up at 2 or 3 in the morning, you've seen them on TV over the last 20 years. Made billions of dollars off different products. And we get to spend a day with him also in Arizona. So those are the 2 that are coming up. And that's Leaders Create Leaders season 5 right there.
How many episodes are you doing in this season?
So we decided on this season to not put an actual number, not promise a number. Okay. We're going in a documentary style approach where we're shooting the story, producing the story, and then promoting the story and then putting it out. So it's like a cycle. Like we go out and shoot, we edit, we finalize the story, and then we go out there and start promoting it, and we drop it at a certain date. So it's like we're shooting. It's like kind of like we're shooting mini documentaries to a certain extent. I know they're also interview based. So like Susie Batiste and Aubrey's throughout the day that we spend with them, like we're interviewing them. So it's like it's a lot of interviews, but
a lot of also just seeing what goes on.
Yeah. It's like a mixture. So I wouldn't want to call them documentaries because it'd be unfair for people that
it's more like an embedded type of.
Yeah.
Right? Kind of.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's a different. It's got its own style.
Its own style.
Yeah, it's so different.
It's leaders create leaders.
It's just great leaders. You know, it's as simple as that. So we don't have an actual.
So
We're not modeling it after anybody else. We
Doing
came
it.
up with it. We came up with a style, and then we're just doing it. You know, so that's the cool thing about running your own production. Like, you can do whatever you want. You have nobody making decisions for you besides your intuition, and based on what you think you like.
So you have Leaders Create Leaders, the project that you work with Candace, that's coming out in October.
I mean, I don't know the exact date, but
Somewhere
around
later in the year.
October,
Yeah. What else do you have going on as far as projects?
So I have an ongoing personal passion project documentary. It's called The Duck, and it's based on my experience in Usha village with Dr. Sabi and the duck plant. And it kind of became, it's interesting because about a year ago, I came out on your show and I spoke about this, and it was my first time going to Honduras, my first time going to experience, this form of lifestyle, I would say, because it's a lifestyle, the way they eat, to what they, what you do throughout the day, like the simple either meditations or whatever. But the way you treat your body is it's kind of like you treat it like a temple. You polish it up every day. And I went there for a 9-day experience in the jungle in Usha village, and I documented my whole experience. And throughout this experience, there was this part where I took the duck plant. The duck plant is like a what was the best way I can describe it? It's this like alien type of plant that you go harvest, and then you ingest it, digest it, and through this process it cleans you out from your toxins. And I thought it was just amazing. Like I was like, wow, more people need to know about this duck plant. So I called it the duck. And throughout the year, when I have weekends or free moments, I keep working on this story. And about a month ago, things got really hot because I started getting messages from people from all over the world. And somehow one of my images from my experience in Honduras that I posted a year ago went viral. And the reason it went viral is because Nipsey Hussle got killed, and Nipsey Hussle was a big advocate for Dr. Sabi. So because of Nipsey Hussle's death, Dr. Sabi's name became very mainstream. And when Dr. Sabi's name became mainstream, people started finding my content of me talking about Dr. Sabi. So I actually got different people to had over the last month. This has been interesting. Over the last month, I've had different people come inquire about me, about my film that I'm making. More people are finding out about it. And I was at a point where I was kind of like at a point where, okay, I'm overthinking this. I could just put it out as a short documentary, 15, 20-minute powerful documentary, which was not the original plan. My original plan was to do a full feature length, hopefully get it on Netflix or get it on Amazon or get it on Hulu, one of these platforms. And when this happened, I was at the point where I wanted to just get it out, because I have like a 15-minute cut right now that I'm not content and happy with, but like it's like the whole say, like the film is never finished. So you just have to decide when your deadline is and get it out.
Yeah.
So I never put myself a deadline, but over this last month, I've gotten different people to come and offer me money to not to buy the rights, but to be either the executive producer on this documentary or to be
like involved
in this project. So I'm like trying to figure out what to do next. And for me, it's never been about the money. Obviously, this has always been a passion project. Like I invested my own money into this. Went into the whole experience by myself, and I feel like if I wanted to do like a full feature length documentary on this, I would need to spend like another couple of months reshooting a lot of it. Not a lot of it, but like reshooting some scenes, shooting more interviews that I need. And then it would take the project to the level that I wanted to. But at this point, I'm not sure if that's even worth it. Maybe I should just put out what I have right now for free, put it out to the world, and then build on top of that. So I'm having this like dilemma this week. This last month I've had like, oh my God, what do I do?
Damn, that's pretty fucking
so
crazy.
My intuition is telling me just to put it out. But if I wait on it, then maybe I can find somebody who really believes in my story that could really fund the story, and then I can spend real time. Because Nipsey Hussle was actually working on the same documentary that by coincidence. I actually didn't know who Nipsey Hussle was until I heard about
him dying.
No, I heard about him working on
through the same thing.
Yeah, I heard about him because I somehow on one of my Dr. Sabi Google searches, his name came up, and I was like, "Who's this Nipsey Hussle guy?" And then my friend Cliff that I met in Miami right before I flew to Honduras, because I flew from Laredo to Miami. I stayed the night there. My friend Cliff picked me up that night, and that night he's a big fan of Nipsey Hussle. Rest in peace. But Cliff was one that told me that Nipsey Hussle had been working on his documentary for a couple of months already. And I messaged Nipsey Hussle, sent him a DM on Instagram, like, hey, I'm working on the same documentary. It's different because his is more based on the story of Dr. Sabi, and me is more based on the Doug plant. My protagonist is the Doug plant. Is like I talk about the science behind it, and I talk about what it does to your body and how it was discovered. So Dr. Sabi comes in the sense that he was the one that discovered it and used it for treatment, and so I talk about that. But Dr. Sabi is a big part of it, obviously. Like he's one of the characters in my story. So there was like this way that I was hoping that one day he would be able to hear me out, and we could work on this together, like where he does one part, I do the other part. But obviously, he ended up, it never actually happened, what happened. And then now that his story's gone viral, now more people are knowing about Dr. Sabi, more people are interested in this story. And I have a lot of the footage. Like I have probably a couple of terabytes of footage that I went and shot in Usha village. So I need to make a decision like soon of how I'm gonna go about it.
It's bubbling up now.
It's bubbling up, and I called it. It was so weird that I thought I had 2 years. I was like, Dr. Sabi is gonna be hot in 24 months. Dr. Sabi is gonna be hot. Like people are gonna be talking about him, and I was wrong. It was actually a year. So I was thinking I have another 5-6 months to finish this film. Maybe if I get some funding, or maybe I get more free time, that I can go and shoot more of this by myself. But that didn't happen. So I'm at this point where I need to execute and figure out what I'm gonna do with it, because it's a hot story right now, and I think people deserve to know. I think this story will impact a lot of people, man, in a very positive light.
Definitely, it's a pretty interesting story, and like we've talked about it like so much now. That'd be badass, man, to see that finally come out.
Yeah. So I'm debating whether do a short documentary or do the feature film. The feature film is gonna take 4 months, 3 months. Documentary, I can get it out by end of the month.
Damn, dude,
short documentary. So, yeah, I'm thinking I should just put it out, because I feel like if I put it out, that might allow more people to see what I'm working on, and then maybe it could be like a segue for me to be able to ask for real financing from a real investor that really believes in this story, and then I can really spend like a whole year working on this project, because I literally spent months researching before I didn't just jump into Honduras like, oh, let me go to Honduras. Like, no, I spent months and months researching, probably about 6 months just researching, experimenting on myself.
Yeah.
And then kind of like a science, I became a scientist that last year. Like I literally felt like a scientist experimenting on my body and stuff like that. And then I was like, dude, I have to go. Like I have to go. And then when he passed away, I was like, damn, like I wish I had gone before he passed away. When Dr. Sabi passed away, it was hard to accept it, because I was like, damn, I could have gone and visited him. When I found out about him, I could have gone and visited him, but I waited. And by the time I made the decision to go, or had the opportunity to go, was, past his death. But I was still able to talk to one of his first wives, to his daughter. I was able to talk to his first, one of his nephews, and a bunch of people that work in the clinic. and I was able to talk to a lot of the people that are taking these treatments that are there at the village. So it's a good, it could be a good 15, 20-minute short documentary right now for what I have. And it tells a story.
I don't know. I would like to see the full feature.
Yeah. I mean, that's my dream, obviously, That's my dream. So maybe I can make it happen. But I've had people this last month offer me, you never know how serious offer until the paperwork gets here, but I've had people like do just cold DMs and cold calls and like, hey, I heard you're working on this. I saw your website. I saw this video about you, and then I wanna help you fund this project. So that's still in the works. So I don't know. I mean, my expectations are like, all right, if it happens, it happens. If not, we're still gonna put it out, whatever. So the magic is in just getting it out.
When is your podcast launching? Is that still just a thought?
No, I've actually been thinking about it a lot. I feel like I have a lot of good things to share. My whole dilemma has always been like, do I pick a niche? Because the people I advise is like, pick a niche, talk about that. Whether like, let's say you like, I don't know, let's say you're into collecting cars or collecting whatever you're into, speak about only that, and then let that audience find you. Like, so you give it a few months, let that audience find you, and then once your audience, like your main audience, like your first 1,000 fans find you, that because you're providing something for them they like to, then go out and build your army, like build your empire by expanding your content to slightly expand your niche, and my intuition is to not do that. Not follow my own. My intuition has been like, well, I love sports. I love boxing. I love talking about basketball. I love talking about football. I love talking about soccer. I love talking about spirituality. I love talking about politics. I love talking about health, nutrition, mind, body, spirit. So
maybe it's like an amalgamation of all of that.
So I don't know what that is. See, that's the problem that I've been having. I don't know what to talk about. I know I can talk about it. Like, I'm very well. I'm into a lot of these things. Like, I'm really like, I read a lot. I see a lot. I experiment a lot. I test out new things every day. I run into different kinds of people. Like, I know a lot of the people at the top of the health industry, like doctors and scientists. I know a lot of these doctors and scientists that become my friends over the years, that I could probably bring on the podcast and talk about,
crazy
how
stuff.
to prolong your life, or how to beat the flu or the cold, like little things like that. I can talk about all that, or I can also talk. I can get next to NBA players. I can get NFL players into my show. Talk about sports. I can get to some of the top boxers that I've been able to make friends with. So I'm so confused of where I need to take my content, because I feel like I'm in here's all the doors, pick one. I'm like, maybe is there a way to merge it? And that's what I haven't figured out. So to answer the question, when is the podcast coming out, is like, I guess the only thing to say is like, I gotta execute. I gotta just take action soon.
Yeah.
And have like zero expectations from it, So I think I'm having also like the whole idea, like, I want to make sure that this is something that hits, that goes off. So
definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we've reached that time, my friend.
Yeah.
We're gonna wrap it up here, guys. I'll be uploading all of this as always to everywhere, and I'm gonna leave y'all with a special treat today. So this is gonna be a song from a very, very young artist, which I feel like maybe, I don't know, this might be interesting to you, but she's like still in high school.
Oh wow.
She's doing shows like with all the bigger bands from here in Laredo and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She has her own thing going on. It's a pretty badass vibe.
That's fucking dope.
Yeah,
I love that.
The name of her project is called Modern Sophia.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We probably haven't heard of her, but I saw her live recently at South by 2 Hip. It's like this on South by Southwest Chamber from Laredo, and she was pretty fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty crazy how talented she is. This is Modern Sophia. I couldn't fulfill you. Peace out, people.
Peace out.
kissed her on the mouth, did ya? The girl in my nightmare.